My name is Lily. I loved my husband. His name was Leo. He was kind and gentle. He was my whole world. We had a beautiful life together. It was simple, but it was perfect for us. But after the accident, everything changed. My husband, the man I loved, woke up, and he did not know my name. He looked at me with empty eyes and asked, "Who are you?" In that moment, my heart broke into a million pieces. I had to make him love me again. This is my story. This is the story of the stranger I married. Our story began 10 years ago. I met Leo in a small coffee shop. I was reading a book. He was sitting at the table next to me. He spilled his coffee. It went all over my shoes. He was so sorry. He kept saying, "I am so sorry. I am so clumsy." I just laughed. It was just coffee. He bought me a new coffee. We started talking. We talked for hours. It felt like I knew him my whole life. He had the kindest eyes I had ever seen. He made me laugh. I felt comfortable with him. After that day, we saw each other again and again. Soon, we were always together. He was a graphic designer. He worked from home. I was a teacher at a primary school. Our lives were simple. We loved walking in the park on Sundays. We loved cooking dinner together. He was a terrible cook, but he always tried to help. He would burn the toast, and we would laugh. Our house was small, but it was filled with love and laughter. I remember the day he proposed. We were at our favorite park. It was autumn. The leaves were yellow and red. He was very nervous. His hands were shaking. He got down on one knee. He said, "Lily, you make my world a better place. I want to spend every day of my life with you. Will you marry me?" I cried. I said yes, of course. Our wedding was small. Only our family and close friends were there. It was the happiest day of my life. I looked at Leo, my husband, and I thought, I am the luckiest woman in the world. For 5 years, we were married. Every morning, he made me coffee. He always put a little heart in the foam. It was his small way of saying, "I love you." Every night, we talked about our day. We shared our dreams and our fears. He supported me. I supported him. We were a team. We were best friends. I thought our love was so strong. I thought nothing could ever break us. But I was wrong. It was a Tuesday. It was a normal day. I went to school. Leo was working at home. He had a big project. He was a little stressed, but he was excited. He kissed me goodbye in the morning. He said, "I love you, Lily. Have a good day." I said, "I love you too. See you tonight." I never thought those could be the last words he would remember. In the afternoon, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered it. A serious voice said, "Are you Lily, the wife of Leo?" My heart started to beat very fast. I said, "Yes, I am." "Is everything okay?" The voice said, "Your husband was in an accident. He is at the city hospital. You need to come right away." The world stopped. I could not breathe. An accident. Leo. It was not possible. He was at home. He was safe at home. I dropped the phone. My colleague saw my face. She asked, "Lily, what is wrong?" I could not speak. I just pointed at the phone. She picked it up. She talked to the person. Then she looked at me with sad eyes. She said, "I will drive you to the hospital." The car ride was a blur. My mind was full of terrible thoughts. "Please be okay, Leo. Please be okay." I repeated these words again and again in my head. When we arrived at the hospital, I ran inside. I asked for my husband, Leo. A nurse took me to a small waiting room. She said a doctor would come and talk to me soon. Waiting was the hardest part. Every minute felt like an hour. My hands were cold. I was shaking. I thought about our life. I thought about his smile, his laugh, his warm hands. I could not lose him. I just could not. Finally, a doctor came in. He looked tired. He had a kind face. He sat down next to me. He said, "Lily, your husband was hit by a car. He was crossing the street." I started to cry. The doctor continued, "He has a serious head injury. We did a surgery. The surgery was successful. He is stable now. He is alive." Alive. That word was like a lifeline. He was alive. I felt a wave of relief. "Can I see him?" I asked. The doctor nodded. "Yes, but I need to tell you something first. Because of the head injury, we don't know what will happen when he wakes up. He might have memory loss. We have to wait and see." Memory loss. I did not understand what that really meant. I just wanted to see him. The nurse took me to his room. He was lying in a big hospital bed. There were many machines around him. His head was wrapped in a bandage. He looked so pale, so fragile. I sat next to his bed. I took his hand. It was cold. I whispered, "Leo, it's me. It's Lily. I am here. Please wake up." I stayed by his side for 3 days. I did not go home. I did not sleep. I just watched him, waiting for him to open his eyes. Our family and friends came. They brought me food. They told me to be strong. But I felt so weak. My world was in that hospital bed, silent and still. On the 3rd day, his fingers moved. My heart jumped. I called the nurse. "He's waking up," I said. The doctor came quickly. We all stood around his bed. His eyes slowly opened. They were a little cloudy. He looked around the room, confused. He looked at the doctor. He looked at the nurse. Then his eyes met mine. I smiled. Tears were running down my face. "Leo," I whispered, "you're awake." He looked at me. There was no recognition in his eyes, just confusion. He frowned a little. He opened his mouth. His voice was weak and rough. He asked the question that shattered my world. Who are you?" My smile disappeared. My heart stopped. "What?" I said. "Leo, it's me. It's Lily, your wife." He just stared at me. He looked at the doctor. "I don't know her," he said. The doctor put a gentle hand on my shoulder. "Lily, can we talk outside for a moment?" I could not move. I just looked at my husband. The man who made me coffee with a heart every morning. The man who promised to love me forever. And he was looking at me like I was a complete stranger. The doctor explained it to me in the hallway. It was called amnesia. The injury had damaged the part of his brain that stored his recent memories, especially his personal memories, his emotional connections. He said, he remembers general things. He knows his name is Leo. He knows what a car is. But he does not remember you, your marriage, your life together. For him, the last 10 years are gone. Gone 10 years of our life. Our meeting, our dates, our wedding, our home. All gone. It was like a book with the best chapters ripped out. The doctor said his memory might come back. It could take weeks, months, or years, or it might never come back. Never was a word I could not accept. I went back into the room. I tried to be strong. I smiled. It's okay, Leo. You had an accident. Your memory is a little confused, but you are safe. I am here to help you. He looked at me with suspicion. He was scared. I could see it in his eyes. I was a stranger to him. A stranger who claimed to be his wife. The next few weeks were the hardest of my life. Leo stayed in the hospital. I visited him every day. I brought him his favorite books. I told him stories about our life. I showed him pictures on my phone. Pictures of us laughing on a beach. Pictures from our wedding. He would look at them. He would listen. But his face was blank. He was looking at a movie of someone else's life. He saw a man who looked like him, but he did not feel like him. One day, I showed him a video from our first anniversary. We were dancing in our living room. We looked so happy, so in love. He watched the video. Then he looked at me. He said, "That man, he looks very happy." His voice was sad. I wish I could feel that. I am sorry. I don't. His words were like a knife in my heart. He was sorry. He felt guilty. That was not what I wanted. I didn't want his pity. I wanted his love. When he was ready to leave the hospital, the doctor said it was best for him to go home, to a familiar environment. Maybe it would help his memory. But our home was not familiar to him. It was my home. It was not his. The day he came home was strange. I helped him out of the car. He looked at our small, yellow house. He said, "This is our house." "Yes," I said, trying to sound cheerful. "Welcome home." I opened the door. He walked inside slowly. He looked at everything like he was in a museum. He looked at the photos on the wall, our photos. He touched the armchair where he always sat to read. He walked into the kitchen. He saw the coffee machine. I wanted him to feel at home. But how can you feel at home in a stranger's house? That night, I made his favorite dinner. Pasta with a special sauce. The old Leo loved my pasta. He always said it was the best in the world. I served him dinner. He ate it quietly. "Is it good?" I asked, my voice full of hope. He nodded. "Yes, it is very good, thank you. Just thank you," polite, distant. The words a guest would say, not my husband. I went to the bedroom and cried silently. We slept in the same bed, but we were miles apart. There was a big, empty space between us. I was afraid to touch him. I did not want to scare him. I was sleeping next to a stranger who looked exactly like my husband. Every night, I would lie awake and listen to his breathing. I missed him so much. He was right there, but he was gone. I decided I could not give up. I had to try. I had to make him remember. Or, if he could not remember, I had to make him fall in love with me again. I had to start from the beginning. So I started to date my husband. I tried to recreate our first date. I said, "Leo, do you want to go to a coffee shop? The one where we first met." He was hesitant. He said, "I don't know, Lily. It feels strange." I said, "Please, let's just go for a coffee. As friends." He agreed. We went to the little coffee shop. We sat at a table. I told him the story of how he spilled coffee on my shoes. I tried to make it funny. He smiled a little. It was a small smile, but it was a start. He said, "I was clumsy, huh?" "Yes," I said, "but very charming." He looked at me. For a second, I saw a spark in his eyes. Just a tiny spark of interest. It gave me hope. I took him to all our special places. The park where he proposed. The cinema where we saw our first movie together. I told him all the stories. He was a patient listener. He never told me to stop. But he was always quiet. I did not know what he was thinking. Was he remembering anything? Was he feeling anything? Our friends and family tried to help. His parents came to visit. His mother hugged him. She cried. "Oh, Leo, my son." He was polite to her, but he did not remember her warmth. Our friends came over for dinner. They told funny stories about him. They tried to make him laugh. He would smile, but he felt like an outsider. He was listening to stories about a man he did not know. One evening, my best friend, Sarah, came to see me. She found me crying in the kitchen. She hugged me. "Lily, this is so hard," she said. "I don't know what to do, Sarah," I sobbed. "I feel like I am losing him every day. He is polite. He is kind. But he is not my Leo. He is a stranger." Sarah held my hand. "Maybe you are trying too hard to bring the old Leo back," she said. "Maybe you need to let him get to know the new you. And you need to get to know the new him." Her words made me think. I was so focused on the past. I was trying to force him to remember our old life. But that life was gone for him. Maybe Sarah was right. I needed to build something new. The next day, I changed my approach. I stopped talking about the past so much. I started talking about the present. I told him about my day at school, about the funny things my students said. He listened. And this time, he asked questions. "What is the name of the funny student?" he asked. "What do you teach?" He was showing curiosity. Not about the past Leo, but about me. Lily, the woman who was living with him now. We started to have small conversations. They were not deep, but they were real. We talked about the weather. We talked about the news. We talked about a movie on TV. It was slow. It was painful sometimes. But it was a start. One Saturday, I was in the garden. I love gardening. It helps me to relax. Leo came outside. He just stood there watching me, I smiled at him. "Do you want to help?" I asked. I did not expect him to say yes. But he did. He said, "Okay, what should I do?" I was surprised. I showed him how to plant some flowers. His hands were clumsy. He got dirt all over his clothes. He looked at his dirty hands and he laughed. A real, genuine laugh. It was the most beautiful sound I had heard in months. My heart melted. I laughed with him. For a moment, it felt normal. It felt like us. After that day, things started to change slowly. He started to spend more time with me. He would sit in the kitchen while I cooked. He would watch me. Sometimes he would try to help. He was still a terrible cook. He still burned the toast. But now, when he did it, we would both laugh. He started to work on his graphic design again. He had lost his clients and his projects. But he started drawing. He was very talented. His style was a little different now, but it was still beautiful. I would watch him work. He was so focused, so passionate. I was seeing a new side of him, a side I also loved. One afternoon, I came home from school. I was very tired. I had a difficult day. I sat on the sofa and closed my eyes. A few minutes later, I felt a cup in my hand. I opened my eyes. Leo was standing there with a cup of coffee. He said, "You look tired. I made you coffee." I looked at the cup. In the foam, there was a heart. A wobbly, imperfect heart. But it was a heart. Tears filled my eyes. I looked up at him. He looked worried. "Is it bad?" he asked. I tried to make it like the pictures. I shook my head. "No," I said, my voice shaking. "It's perfect. It's the most perfect coffee in the world." He smiled. A warm, beautiful smile. The smile I had missed so much. In that moment, I knew. He was still in there. And maybe, just maybe, he was starting to love me again. Our new life was a dance. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Some days were good. We would laugh. We would talk. I would feel a glimmer of hope. Other days were hard. He would be quiet and distant. He would get frustrated. He would say, "I am sorry, Lily. I feel so empty. I see how much you love me, but I can't give that back to you." On those days, my heart would break all over again. There was a day I almost gave up. It was our wedding anniversary. The 6th anniversary. I woke up feeling sad. I remembered our last anniversary. We went to a fancy restaurant. We danced. He gave me a beautiful necklace. This year, he did not even know it was our anniversary. I did not say anything to him. I did not want to pressure him. But I was sad all day. That evening, I could not hide it anymore. He found me crying in our bedroom, holding our wedding album. He sat next to me on the bed. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Today is an important day, isn't it?" I nodded, unable to speak. He took the album from my hands. He looked at the pictures. He looked at the happy couple. Then he looked at me. His eyes were full of pain. "I am sorry," he whispered. "I am so sorry I can't remember this. I am sorry I am not him. That man in the pictures." He continued, I am living in his house. I am sleeping in his bed. I am with his wife. But I am not him. Lily, maybe you should be free. Maybe you should find someone who can love you the way you deserve to be loved. I am not that man. I am just a ghost. His words pierced my heart. He was letting me go. I looked at him, at this kind, lost, broken man, and I realized something. I did not just love the memory of the old Leo. I was falling in love with this new Leo, too. The one who was trying so hard. The one who felt so much guilt. The one who was thinking about my happiness, even when he was in so much pain. I took his face in my hands. I looked into his eyes. Listen to me, Leo, I said. I loved that man in the pictures. I loved him with all my heart. But I am also starting to love the man who is sitting in front of me right now. The man who worries about me. The man who makes me coffee with a wobbly heart. The man who gets dirt on his clothes in the garden. I don't want to be free from you. I want to be with you. You, the man you are today. He stared at me. Tears were in his eyes. He said, but I don't remember loving you. I know, I said softly. So let's make new memories. Let's start from today. Hello, my name is Lily. It's very nice to meet you. A small smile appeared on his lips. He took my hand. Hello, Lily, he said. My name is Leo. It's very nice to meet you too. That night was a turning point. We decided to stop trying to bring the past back. We decided to build a future. We started going on real dates. He would come to my door with flowers. We would go to the cinema and hold hands. We would walk in the park and talk for hours. I was getting to know him all over again. He was funny. He was smart. He was still kind and gentle. He was different from the old Leo in some ways. He was more quiet, more thoughtful. But I loved this version of him, too. He started to open up to me. He told me about his fears, about how scary it was to wake up in a life you don't recognize. He told me he felt like he was a child in a man's body. I listened. I held him. I told him he was not alone. One evening, we were sitting on the sofa, watching a movie. It was a romantic comedy. The couple on the screen kissed. I looked at Leo. He was looking at me. He slowly leaned in. He kissed me. It was a soft, gentle kiss. It was not a kiss of memory or duty. It was a kiss of real feeling, of new love. When he pulled away, he whispered, Lily, I think I am falling in love with you. My heart soared. I cried happy tears. I am falling in love with you too, Leo, I said, all over again. Life was not perfect. He still had bad days. His memory never fully came back. There were still pieces of our past that were lost forever, but it did not matter as much anymore. We had a new past, a new story, a story we were writing together day by day. A year after the accident, on the day of our anniversary, he woke me up early. He said, get dressed. We are going somewhere. He took me to the park. The same park where he first proposed. We walked to our special spot under the big oak tree. He took a deep breath. He looked nervous, just like he did all those years ago. He took my hand. "Lily," he began, "I know I can't remember the first time I did this. I can't remember the promise I made to you. I have seen the pictures, and I know it was a happy day. But I want to make a new promise, a promise from me, the man I am today." He got down on one knee. He pulled out a small box. Inside was a simple, beautiful ring. "Lily," he said, his voice full of emotion, "you are the strongest, kindest, most patient person I have ever known. You stayed with me when I was a stranger. You taught me how to live again. You taught me how to love again. My life started the day I truly met you. I love you more than words can say. Will you marry me? Again." I was sobbing, but this time they were tears of pure joy. "Yes," I whispered. 1,000 times yes. He put the ring on my finger, next to my first wedding ring. He stood up and hugged me tightly. We were standing in the same spot, but we were different people. Our love was different. It had been tested. It had been broken. But it had grown back, stronger and more beautiful than before. I married a stranger. I lost the man I knew. But in his place, I found a man who I got to fall in love with twice. Our first love story was beautiful. It was a gift. But our second love story, the one we built from the ashes of the old one, that is our masterpiece. It taught me that love is not just about shared memories. It is a choice you make every day. It is about patience. It is about kindness. It is about seeing the person in front of you and loving them for who they are right now. Sometimes, life takes away the things we thought we could not live without. It can be scary. It can be painful. But sometimes, when you lose everything, you find what truly matters. You find a new beginning. And you find that you are stronger than you ever thought you could be. You can do this too. Never give up on love. And never give up on yourself.